8 islands scattered across the planet that you are simply not allowed to set foot on. Some are guarded by law, some are guarded by disease, and at least one is guarded by people who will kill you the moment you step onto the sand. You can see most of these places on a map. You can sail right up close to a few of them, but the moment you try to land, you're breaking the law, risking your life, or both. And the reasons why, once you hear them, are going to stay with you. 8 forbidden islands. Let's get into it. 1. Snake Island, Brazil. We're starting off the coast of Brazil, about 20 miles out, with an island that looks like paradise and functions like a death trap. Ilha da Queimada Grande. But nobody calls it that. Everybody calls it Snake Island. Here's why. When the sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age, this island got cut off from the mainland, and the snakes trapped on it had nowhere to go and nothing to hunt but birds. Over thousands of years, they evolved a venom strong enough to kill their prey almost instantly. Venom that can melt human flesh. The snake is called the golden lancehead, and it exists nowhere else on Earth. And the island is covered in them. On parts of the island, there is, on average, a snake for every square meter of ground. One researcher described it as never being more than 3 feet away from death. The Brazilian government has made it illegal to go there. The only people allowed are a handful of scientists with special permits. There's an old automated lighthouse on the island, and the legend goes that the last keeper and his family died when snakes came in through the windows. That's an island guarded by venom. The next one is guarded by something far more deliberate. 2. North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island sits in the Bay of Bengal, part of India's Andaman Islands, and it is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last completely uncontacted tribes on the entire planet. These people have lived in total isolation for an estimated 50,000 to 60,000 years. They have rejected the outside world for so long that their language is understood by no one else alive, and they defend their island with absolute lethal force. Anyone who approaches is met with arrows. In 2018, an American missionary named John Chow paid fishermen to take him near the island. He went ashore to convert them. He was killed almost immediately, and his body was never recovered. But here's the part that makes the ban so important. The Sentinelese have no immunity to common diseases. A simple cold could wipe out the entire population. So India hasn't sealed off the island just to protect outsiders from the tribe. It's to protect the tribe from us. There's a 3-mile exclusion zone patrolled by the Navy. It is, in a strange way, the most successfully defended place on Earth. That's an island that protects itself. The next one was poisoned on purpose. 3. Gruinard Island, Scotland. Gruinard Island, off the coast of Scotland, looks like a peaceful little green hill in the water. For nearly 50 years, it was one of the most dangerous places in Britain. And the danger was man-made. During World War II, the British military needed to know if anthrax could be used as a biological weapon. So they took Gruinard, tethered dozens of sheep across it, and detonated anthrax bombs. The sheep died within days, and then the scientists realized they had a problem. The anthrax spores didn't go away. They soaked into the soil and stayed there, lethal for decades. The island was sealed off completely. A single sign warned people to keep away. It stayed that way for almost half a century. Finally, in the 1980s, they soaked the entire island in hundreds of tons of formaldehyde and seawater to kill the spores. They declared it safe in 1990, but for years afterward, people were understandably nervous that something was still living in that ground. An island the government deliberately turned into a weapon, and then couldn't fully take back. That's an island poisoned by war. The next one is forbidden by a promise. 4. Niihau, Hawaii. Off the coast of Kauai sits Niihau, known across Hawaii simply as the Forbidden Island. It's not dangerous. There are no snakes, no anthrax, no hostile tribe. What makes Niihau forbidden is a 160-year-old promise. In 1864, a Scottish woman named Elizabeth Sinclair bought the entire island from the Kingdom of Hawaii. And when she did, she made a pledge to the Hawaiian king. that she would protect the island and its people from the outside world. Her descendants have kept that promise for over a century and a half. So today, Niihau has no paved roads, no stores, no internet, no hotels. The few hundred native Hawaiians who live there speak Hawaiian as their first language, in one of the last places on Earth where that's true. You cannot visit. You cannot buy your way in. Access is reserved for the family, the residents, invited guests, and the U.S. Navy. It's a whole community preserved in another century, kept that way on purpose, behind a promise nobody broke. If you're enjoying this, drop a comment telling me which of these islands you'd actually risk visiting. It genuinely helps the video reach more people, and I read through them. Now, the next island is one almost no human has ever stood on. 5. Bouvet Island. Bouvet Island is, by most measures, the most remote island on the entire planet. It sits in the freezing South Atlantic, and the nearest land of any kind is over 1,000 miles away. The nearest inhabited land is more than 1,400 miles away. It is a speck of ice in the middle of nowhere. About 93% of the island is covered by a glacier. It has no harbor, no safe place to land a boat, and it's ringed by ice cliffs that drop straight into the sea. Getting onto it usually requires a helicopter. Here's the eerie part. In 1964, a lifeboat was discovered on Bouvet Island. A whole abandoned lifeboat with supplies nearby, sitting on one of the most inaccessible places on Earth. No bodies, no sign of who they were, where they came from, or what happened to them. To this day, nobody has ever explained the lifeboat of Bouvet Island. A place so remote that a mystery can simply sit there, unsolved, forever. That's an island forbidden by distance. The next one is forbidden because it's brand new. 6. Surtsey, Iceland. Surtsey, off the southern coast of Iceland, is one of the youngest pieces of land on the planet, and we know its exact birthday. In November 1963, fishermen saw smoke rising from the sea. It wasn't a ship on fire. It was a volcano erupting from the ocean floor. For nearly 4 years, that eruption built up layer after layer of rock until a brand new island rose out of the water. Scientists got to watch an island being born from nothing, and that's exactly why it's forbidden. Surtsey is a chance to watch how life colonizes a completely sterile, fresh piece of land with zero human interference. The first plants, the first insects, the first birds arriving on their own, so almost no one is allowed to set foot on it. Only a tiny number of scientists, and they follow strict rules so they don't bring a single foreign seed. The story goes they once found a tomato plant growing, sprouted from a researcher's lunch, and pulled it up immediately because it didn't belong. An entire island kept pure, off limits to protect a natural experiment. That's an island too new to touch. The next one we made uninhabitable ourselves. 7. Bikini Atoll. Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands has a name you associate with a swimsuit. The reality is much darker. After World War II, the United States chose this tiny ring of coral islands in the middle of the Pacific as a nuclear testing site. The 167 people who lived there were relocated, told they could return one day. Then, between 1946 and 1958, the U.S. detonated 23 nuclear weapons at Bikini, including, in 1954, a hydrogen bomb 1,000 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It was the largest nuclear explosion the U.S. ever set off. The islands were left contaminated with radiation. Decades later, scientists tested whether people could move back. They couldn't. The soil and groundwater were still too radioactive. The plants grown there absorbed the contamination. The original islanders and their descendants have mostly never been able to go home. Today, the water is so clear that divers with special permits can explore the sunken warships from the tests. But the land itself, a paradise we rendered unlivable. That's an island poisoned by the bomb. The last one is hiding in plain sight inside one of the biggest cities on Earth. 8. North Brother Island, NYC. Our last one isn't in some far-off ocean. It's in New York City. In the East River between the Bronx and Rikers Island sits North Brother Island, and almost no New Yorker has ever set foot on it. For decades, it housed Riverside Hospital, a quarantine facility for people with dangerous, contagious diseases. Its most famous resident was Mary Mallon, Typhoid Mary, the woman who unknowingly spread typhoid fever and was forcibly confined to this island, alone, until she died. Later, the hospital became a place to treat heroin addiction. And then, in the 1960s, it was abandoned entirely. Today, it's a crumbling, overgrown ruin in the middle of America's largest city. The buildings are collapsing, and the island has become a protected nesting site for wading birds. So, the city keeps it strictly off-limits. You can stand in the Bronx and look across the water at an abandoned, forbidden island, empty hospital buildings being swallowed by trees, while 8 million people go about their day a few hundred yards away. So here's where we landed. 8 forbidden islands, one ruled by the deadliest snakes on Earth, one defended by a tribe that has rejected the world for 50,000 years, one poisoned with anthrax by its own government, one sealed behind a 160-year-old promise, one so remote it holds a mystery no one can solve, one kept pure because we watched it being born, one made unlivable by the bomb, and one rotting quietly inside New York City. What strikes me about all of them is that the line between paradise and forbidden is razor thin. Most of these look beautiful from a distance. It's only when you understand what's really there, the venom, the radiation, the disease, the promise, that you understand why the smartest thing humans can do is stay away. If you want more like this, there's a video right here that goes deep on places wiped off the map. And if you're new here, subscribing actually makes a real difference. It's how these videos find the people who want to watch them. I'll see you in the next one.